Americans going around the world. There is enough money. It's just not in the right place. So Missio Invest seeks a way of securing those assets and putting them at the service of the church. If I might just be a little editorial, for the past 70 years, we've been moving a little bit of money from the north to the south. But we haven't been moving the risk from the south to the north. Despite our generosity and our sharing of all the solidarity we've expressed, the risks of development remain in the south. And Missio Invest tries to correct that in some way. We are in 11 countries, started 10 years ago. We have made over $50 million in loans, 134 of them, with over 12 million repaid. 10 years ago they said, but you'll never see the money again. Well, that's not true. We have 10 years of robust, faithful repayment. 23 loans have been fully repaid, and 19 of our borrowers have asked for follow-on loans. You can see all the countries that we are in here on the spreadsheet. And then I just give you some projects. Is Bishop Sabino here? I thought he was here. I'm going to embarrass him. Bishop Sabino, good to see you. You don't know I put your photograph up. He took a loan of $900,000 to build a pharmaceutical warehouse. And his brother bishops were a little nervous. Cardinal, good to see you. But he's just completing it now, a joint medical store, and it will be the biggest distributor of pharmaceuticals in northern Uganda and South Sudan. That's the diocese. That's the Diocese of Arua. This was Kigoma. Cardinal Protes was with us at the beginning when we thought about this 10 years ago. He was only a humble archbishop at the time in PMS. This was his diocese during COVID. They got a loan to revamp their soap factory. And they've been paying that back and been distributing soap. And it was vital during COVID, as I recall. One of the oldest printing presses in Uganda, as you can see, the Marianum printing press. And what's happened over the years is as the missionaries have left, they left personnel, buildings, equipment, land, a lot of land, some expertise, but most of those assets remained in another part of the world for various reasons, good reasons, some of them, to pay for retirement, elderly, medical care. And what we do is we try and use those assets without giving them away. This is a loan. But we don't give them what Wall Street gives them. We give them just a smaller percentage, an ethical amount on these assets which were intended for, I would say, many in this continent originally. So this is the old Marianum printing press getting a big upgrade. There's the Archbishop. And Nairobi, the Nairobi collective of over 1,500 small milk producers, and they have a great way of gathering that milk on the back of motorcycles. And there's Archbishop Agnolo, who took a $300,000 loan to upgrade the milk processing and to be able to provide that locally to local supermarkets. As you know, people have great expectations now, and that's providing a lot of resources and income for the Archdiocese that they then use on things that you can't make money off. You can't make money off of building churches and seminarians and all of those things. But these are the types of income-generating initiatives that they can use for other benefits and be less, as Cardinal said, to be less dependent on these somewhat more vulnerable donations from outside. This one was repaid. This is in the Oyo Diocese in Nigeria, very robust agricultural development center and training for young people. Now, these are not necessarily Caritas projects or the traditional aid and development projects. These are ones that are just exercised by the diocese or by the church, but that normally doesn't qualify for the type of funding that can come from some of our aid agencies. So we channel them directly through the diocese. Loans are only given to religious orders of sisters, dioceses, seminaries, Catholic institutions. This was the Zambians know this was a gift of the Archdiocese to the Zambian Association of Sisters, who wanted to expand their training for sisters. As we saw, there are more than 80,000, 90,000 sisters. So to do that, they built a multi-purpose convention center so that they can train their sisters, make some money, and then also expand the education, which is what their mission is. This was Rwanda Ruhengeri Farm. This was the multiplication of seeds. I think the Bishop of Ruhengeri is here. Sorry if I'm... Good to see you, Bishop. You can be our advocate for that. That was repaid in September 2024. The oldest seminary in Africa. And for those of you who know the subsidies that come from the congregation, those have been going down and down. St. Peter Apostle, it's very difficult to get enough subsidies. As the subsidies have gone down, strangely, the demand has gone up. There are more seminarians. There's more need for good services, professional services. This is Father Herman Kituma, for those of you who know him. He's a biblical scholar and an organic farmer. He was a remarkable borrower and believer in this, and they upgraded their farm, and then they did a lot of training with the seminarians on sustainable agriculture, very practically showing them the bees and corn and intercropping and solar panels. So all of this stuff goes on in our seminaries every day. We don't have to go too far away to do it, but they don't have the resources, and unfortunately donations are not normally enough. So we provide them with that loan, a long-term loan, even though we repaid this off early. It's about 7 years loan, and it's a lot lower than what anybody could get locally in the bank. It's called impact investing. This was, Eminence had a parish here run by the Palatines, and I think this was for the school, an expansion on the school. It would be almost impossible. In fact, let me say, it's impossible to get any public money for a Catholic school. I see Archbishop Zinkler is here from the United States. It would be impossible to ask the government to help fund Catholic schooling. Yet that's exactly what we're allowed to do across this wonderful continent. No laws are broken, all protocols are being observed because of the impact it has on the community, on bringing people up. It's a great discovery. And then I think I'm coming closer, the Catholic University of Rwanda in Butare expanded its health facilities, health training for a medical school, and that's working very well. The Pallotti Center, for those of you who know the Sons of Vincent, Don Vincenzo, they've done wonderful, wonderful work in this province between Rwanda and DRC and Burundi, and they were able to expand, and that's Father Jackson, who you might see around. One of your protocol men is the provincial, as you know, Father Eugene, wonderful, wonderful person. And this is, I think we're going to Kibeho, and this was the sisters wanted to expand the pilgrimage offerings. So you'll see that for those who go on Sunday. It's an educational experience. It's caring for people coming on a spiritual journey. And it would be very difficult for those sisters, or if they did get a loan, we've discovered they'd have to use the collateral of the mother house. So Missio Invest doesn't require any collateral. It's just a handshake and a belief that people will do the right thing. And we follow them along. Don't think we don't follow them along. When they change their cell phone numbers, we get the new cell phone number. and support them. I'm going to ask my three colleagues to come up now since I'm finishing. If Jeffrey and Bernard and Frank want to come up. So there's that little thing if you wanted to do that. These guys are going to be here the next few days for anybody who's interested. It might be a little complicated, investment and money and where's the catch and what's going on, but there's something there. And then here we have Jeffrey, who's based in Rwanda, Bernard, who's based in Uganda, in Arua, and then Frank. Mambala, for those of you who know what Mambala means, maybe you don't, but he's not a Mambala. That's Frank Mambala, who's based in Lilongwe, but also covers. So they'll be here, so stop them at any time over the next few days. Thank you very much for your assistance. And if I could just say one last word, because I see Archbishop Zinkala here, and he might be a little bit embarrassed. But when I was getting going 6 years ago, and we were looking for an investor, he was the Bishop of Davenport, I think, at the time. He's now become an Archbishop of the province. But he supported us, and he wrote a letter to some very important people. So Archbishop, this is largely because of what you helped us do, you and many others. So I thank you and thank all those who actually do the work. And if anybody's interested,